So something that I am actually quite happy about, if you saw my indie shows videos for All In Weekend, I should be, fingers crossed, tomorrow, I should have my Progress tickets booked. I thought I wasn't going to be able to go, but we have extended our trip by a day so that I can go see Progress. And please give a big shout out to my girlfriend, because my god, she's doing Rev Pro, All In, and now Progress back to back. What an absolute trooper. Absolute trooper. Yeah, she's a keeper. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am you McQuaid, and today we are talking about Progress Wrestling Chapter 169, The Devil on My Shoulder. Now, we haven't talked about Progress for what feels like a hot minute, but BritWres is booming at the moment. I watched this show, I finally got to sit down, watch it on my day off, take it all in, because Progress has been on a bit of a hiatus since Super Strong Style. We had Luke Jacobs win, and then we've had sort of a relatively long gap in between shows until we got The Devil on My Shoulder, which featured Kid Lykos versus Luke Jacobs in that main event. And I have some thoughts. I do have some thoughts on this show, but before we do, if you like British wrestling, please stay tuned to the channel. Please hit subscribe. Please hit that like button. Do all the things that you should do on YouTube that YouTubers project out and say to do for my channel. It'd be very much appreciated. Now, let's talk about Progress after all that is out of the way. I had a blast with this show. I thought the show was really, really good. While I don't think it was necessarily the strongest Progress show that I've ever seen, that still, to this day, is Wonder Brawl, and I don't know if it will ever be topped, because that show was insanely good, and I will shout it out on every show that I do because they deserve credit for that show. I loved it. This was a really solid show with some really solid action, really cool story developments as well on this show. And yeah, I had a blast with it. I thought it was really, really good. So shall we just dive straight into it with the first match? So I did not see the pre-show, which saw Saxon Huxley defeat Taishi Azawa, unfortunately. I started from the main card, but this did tie into story ramifications later, so we'll touch on it a little bit when we get to that. We had the opening video package, which was really, really good. We had Jerry Bakewell coming out and being an excellent host. He was singing Creed, for crying out loud, one of my favourite bands of all time, and I have no shame about that. That was the crossover I didn't know I needed. Progress and Creed, those were the ones. And then we had the opening contest, which was for the Progress Atlas Championship, as Mike D took on the champion Axel Tischer double champion, as he is part of the tag champions with Big Damo. And this was everything you expected it to be, apart from the fact that I always forget Mike D is just incredible and does feats of strength and feats of agility that a man his size should not be able to do. And Mike D, he got a lot in this match, as I pull up my notes because I'm professional like that. So it started off with a really nice handshake. I really like this. Two baby faces going at it and just, proving who's the best. That's the kind of stories that you can do in pro wrestling. It doesn't need an intricate story. Who is the best going for this belt? And there were some incredible spots sort of early on, such as a huge springboard and tope from Mike D. A man that size should not be able to do as many springboards as that man does. You had a huge choke slam from Mike D, who got a lot of offense in quite early on. To be honest, he was dominating Axel Tischer. Then it sort of went a little bit more back and forth. And you had an insane sequence towards the middle. An absolutely insane sequence, which was... I'm going to try and describe this to you because I've got it written down, but I don't know if I can do it justice. So they both hit sort of the slingshot clothesline on each other, knock each other down, kip up. Then they start running the ropes, going after each other, and he gets clobbered. Axel Tischer gets clobbered with a clothesline from Mike D. That sequence was absolutely insane. I did not do it justice in how I've done that. And then we hit a huge... Mike D hits a insane splash because it looks like Axel Tischer's going to roll out to the other side of the ring, And Mike D just jumps. He just jumps, man. And he carries himself 3/4 of the way across the ring. And yeah, squashes Axel Tischer in that regard, which gets a great 2 count. Then you had him going for a shooting star press as well, which he misses. And then you get Axel Tischer hitting a powerbomb, and Mike D kicks out at 1. You should all know by now, kick out at 1s, low-key my favourite thing in pro wrestling. They really give me, they fire me up when I see a kick out at 1 done right, and that was absolutely done right. Then you had a jackknife powerbomb and a elevator for the win. Axel Tischer picks up the win over Mike D. This was an insane contest. This was probably not my favourite thing on the show, but it might have been my match of the night, if that makes sense. We'll get to that in a little bit. This was incredibly good. I love the Atlas division. I think it's such a cool, well-rounded division with the likes of, Damo, Luke Jacobs, Axel Tischer, Mike D, Ricky Knight Jr. There's so many people who've competed for that belt that it feels top level, and all the matches always deliver. I absolutely love this, and it was such a hot way to open the show. Then we had 2 masked men come down, dressed as Johnny Utah from Point Break, and they start beating down Axel Tischer. It's revealed to be the Smoking Aces. The Smoking Aces are back, and they demand a tag team match, which is then accepted by Axel Tischer in a backstage promo for the tag titles at Wrestling Never Sleeps. So that's the tag title match set up. I wonder what this means going forward. Will we maybe get a return of Dominatus Reynham? Will we get a return of Spike Trivet? These are the questions that the return of the Smoking Aces kind of leaves now. It leaves those questions hanging. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to sort of see where this goes from here. Really hot show, really hot angle to open the show. Then we got a really fun friend versus friend match as Man Like Darius took on Kid Lykos. Man Like Darius, who may have the best entrance in all of wrestling at the moment, because coming out to, I think the song's called Desire. I think it's called Desire, but I might have to fact check that. Coming out to that, gets the crowd fired up, and he had a really fun match with Kid Lykos too. I thought this was really entertaining. It wasn't like the most insane thing I've ever seen, but they really did go hell for leather, like beating the piss out of each other with a really cool code red from Kid Lykos 2. I thought that was really good. And a really sick suicide dive where he jumps over the ropes and Darius catches him and almost razor's edges him onto the apron. That was really, really cool. I really like that. And in the end, after that, it was a 450 from Darius, who picked up the win. I think that's the right decision. I think it's clear they're sort of pushing Darius to the world title picture. Maybe he'll slot into that Atlas division. It makes all the sense in the world because he's so over. He's so good in the ring. He's so charismatic that he should be pushed to that level. And Lykos 2, I think, is going to have story ramifications moving forward with Kid Lykos and the Luke Jacobs story. So I think that'll be really, really interesting to see where they go with this. This was a really fun match. Then I think we got my favourite thing on the show. Not a match, but a promo with Tate Mayfair's coming out to Eddie Dennis's music and Eddie Dennis responding to that, and they sort of worked the work shoot kind of stuff with Tate Mayfair's burying Eddie Dennis. He got fired from WWE, went back to WWE, got fired again, teaching at a boarding school, all these sort of digs, and then Eddie Dennis coming back being like, look, no, I didn't come out here to insult you. I came out here to say I respect you and that we should be competing as a tag team together. It was really profound, and it actually really, really worked and sold me on this feud. I almost wished we didn't get the turn afterwards, because Tate Mayfair's turned on Eddie Dennis at the end of this promo, setting up the match for London. They were all in London. Well, the majority are in London. Wrestling Never Sleeps. So that's the match. But this promo, seek it out, because this was 2 promo masters going at each other and sort of not leaning into expectations. It really sold me on the match. I'm so excited to see where they go from here. Low-key my favourite thing on the show, genuinely. Then we got one of the big marquee matches, which was Danhausen taking on Gene Money. This went about 10 minutes, and this was everything I expected it to be. I didn't expect this to be a wrestling masterclass. I didn't expect it to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. This was exactly what it needed to be in getting crowd involvement and 2 funny characters going up against each other. You had the curses, you had the nipple tape coming off from Gene Money, and it all worked really well. It wasn't like the most insane match that I've ever seen, but it was really, really good, and I really liked the angle that came afterwards, because there's a ref bump, and who should come out, but we'd seen him earlier in a backstage promo. It was Taishi Ozawa from the pre-show. He comes out in like a lucha mask, low blows Danhausen, which means Gene Money gets the win, and we've seemingly got an almost appreciation society of Gene Money kind of thing, is what we saw in the backstage promo after this match. And I'm so here for that. I'm so here for a Gene Money appreciation society, like a heel Gene Money. A heel Gene Money is something that I didn't know I needed, but now I realise I do, because I think that makes so much sense, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. Imagine Gene Money winning the belt as a heel after he's tried his best to do it as a babyface. It'd be heartbreaking. And I'm really excited to see where this Gene Money faction goes. Will we get more members? I don't know, but it's very exciting. And it was an okay match. Great angle. Really excited to where they go from here. Then we got a match for the Proteus Championship as Malik took on the champion, Paul Robinson. This has had a lot of build. There's been a lot of hype surrounding this, with Paul Robinson turning heel. He's the one who had the Proteus Championship all along. And this was like everything, again, that I expected it to be. I think it was a really fun plunder carnage match, which is what we expected. It was no DQ. You had the likes of a tombstone on the steel steps at the top of the ramp. You had the like of Costas going through a table on the outside. You had the tax being brought in. You had a doomsday device from Costas and Malik for a great near fall. You had a really great near fall with a running knee from Malik into a steel chair onto Robbo's face, which looked awesome. Towards the end, though, I do feel like this went on a little bit too long. I feel like they tried some spots which maybe didn't work, such as the setting the two chairs up and then putting the kendo sticks on across the chairs. I think they thought maybe that'd look a bit cooler than it did, but the thumbtack stuff was insane. You had a gross look at the back of Paul Robinson. You had him all down his back, and I actually think maybe it was the wrong call for Robbo to win. I think the steel chair knee shot would have been a great finish. Malik picks up the win. That puts a cap on this story. But it went on a little bit too long for me, and Paul Robinson did get the win with a disgusting looking like curb stomp onto a chair. It looked incredible. Incredibly brutal. And yeah, that's what I have to say about that finish. It looked insanely brutal, and as a finish, yeah, that's how you put someone away. But I do feel like maybe it was Malik's time. Maybe time to pull the trigger on Malik, button off this story, and then we put it to bed. But it was a fun plunder match. It was a fun Extreme Rules, Carnage, no holds barred kind of affair. I just think maybe it went on a little bit too long. Then we had another fun match as Bussy, Ali Catch, and Effie took on Charles Crowley, and his mystery partner, as Alexis Falcon, is out injured at the moment. Who's it going to be? It's Session Moth Martina, and I think that was a really cool gag that they pulled, considering she's not been showing up for other shows with Gene Money. I think that was really fun. She comes out, they're reluctant to team together, a Crowley and Session Moth, and it made for some entertaining comedy wrestling. Lots of fisting jokes, lots of bum jokes, lots of just insanity, really. And Charles Crowley shows why he's one of the best in the world. I absolutely love him. He's such a great in-ring worker. There was a really funny bit towards the beginning of the match where Charles Crowley does he's going to pull his fist out of his thing, and Effie just bends over. That was really funny. That genuinely really funny. But at the end of the match, it's Session Moth Martina who picks up the win over Ali Catch. She gets the pin, and from there, Bussy leave the ring, and Session Moth turns heel on Charles Crowley, low blows him, batters Crowley, and from there we have a heel Session Moth. I think this is a really interesting direction to take a character. I like that Progress has sort of taken a gamble on this and doing Session Moth as a heel and Gene Money as a heel, these two who have been widely beloved as baby faces, like particularly with Session Moth's entrance and the Cascada music. Like, she's been really holding her own there. And to have her be a heel, she's going into a match with Rio at Wrestling Never Sleeps, so we'll see how that plays out. I'm very intrigued to see how this heel character works. I think it'd be really funny if her heel character doesn't drink. Like, she's not a Session Moth anymore. She doesn't have any of that. I think that'd be really funny and a really unique twist on the character. But yeah, I think this was an effective heel turn, a fun comedy match with an effective heel turn to close off the package. Then we just got an awesome match, which was Igor Blanc taking on Leon Slater. And when I say those two names, you should know it's going to be awesome, because it's Igor Blanc and it's Leon Slater. Like, there's not really much that I've put here. The first thing that I've put is insane match, because it was. Both men move at 150 miles an hour and there's no stopping them when they get going. And it all built to one of the greatest spots of the year, which I will probably stand by, because you had huge dives from everyone, you had huge running sprints, you had great springboards, but there was one spot in particular that will live rent-free in my head for the rest of time, probably. And that is Igor Blanc going up to do the coast-to-coast. It looks like he's going to do the coast-to-coast. He's got Leon Slater positioned. He goes for the coast-to-coast. And Leon catches him with a huge leg lariat. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. He hits him mid-air with a swinging leg lariat, and it looked freaking-sane. One of my favourite spots of the year, one of my favourite spots of the night. It was incredible to watch. And from there, Leon Slater picked up the win. He hit his Swanton 450, which is a thing of beauty for the 1-2-3. He's going into a big match at Wrestling Never Sleeps. I think it's the right call. I'm excited to see where we go from here with Leon. Maybe he'll get a shot at Luke Jacobs. I think that will be a really fun dynamic to have as a feud moving forward in progress. Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff from this match. Then we had the implosion of the Lana Austin Experience as Rob Drake and Lana Austin took on Sky Smithson and L.A. Taylor. This was a really fun match. This was like a big blow-off match to this feud that's been going on for a long time. Lana Austin Experience is going on for a long time. And this capped it off pretty much as the babyfaces picked up the win. You had some miscommunication in there. You had Rob Drake being the bastard that he is. You had Sky Smithson getting worked over, building to an LA Taylor hot tag. I think it was a really, really fun match. The babyfaces picked up the win. I think overall this has been a really fun story, but I don't have too much to say about the match. Like, I thought it was good, but I don't think like it was a really good blow off to the feud, but maybe I've just not been into the feud as much as I'd like to be. But I don't really have that much to say about this, unfortunately. Like, it was good. It was a really, really good match, and I'm excited to see where everyone goes from here. I want to see LA Taylor and Sky Smithson in the main women's scene in progress, like vying for that title. There's two contenders right there to Rio's gold. And Lana Austin, I'm not sure what to do with Lana Austin. Like, there's a lot of people there she could be feuding with because she is that damn good. But yeah, I think it was a really fun match. Really fun tag team match. Right result. Right team picked up the win. I don't have any complaints. Then we had the match for the Progress Women's Championship as Rio took on Lena Cross. Now, I don't know much about Lena Cross. I have not seen much of her work, but I think she's a really interesting presence in the ring, and she was really, really good at like building heat and the desperation of some of these kickouts from Rio. I thought she sold a lot of that stuff really, really well, and she was really great in the ring. She put on a really great match with Rio. Rio is just, she's one of the best in the world, you know. There's reasons why there's rumours that WWE are reaching out to Rio and they want to sign Rio, because she's just that damn good. Northwest strong, you know, represent. And she's incredible. She's really good. She's so good at selling, and she did quite a lot of selling in here. She made Lena Cross look like really dominant, considering I thought there was pretty much no chance that Rio wasn't winning this match. I think she made it look really good. She was really playing into the near falls and stuff like that. She's incredible. And eventually Rio picked up the win with a package pile driver, one of the most devastating moves in pro wrestling. Yeah, Rio retains. She's going into the match with Session Moth. I think she might lose to Session Moth, but I'm not 100% sure. I think with the heel turn, Session Moth Martina as the Progress Women's Champion could be really fun. There's a lot of different ways they can go here. A lot of contenders. The Progress Women's division is stacked, and this was a really solid outing. Really enjoyed this match. Then we come to our main event. We have Kid Lykos defending the Progress Wrestling Championship against Luke Jacobs, his former friend who turned heel on him at Super Strong Style 16. I didn't think there was a chance in hell that Kid Lykos, who I love to death. Lykos is one of my favourite wrestlers in the world. There was no way he was escaping Luke Jacobs in this match. I 100% knew that Luke Jacobs would win. It wasn't even a question. But I think in the way that he won, it was kind of the way that I was hoping, This wasn't as a definitive squash as maybe Goldberg versus Lesnar at Survivor Series or Cena Lesnar at SummerSlam. But it was near enough a squash, Lykos got a bit of offense in and they kept putting over on commentary. Props to the commentary. Luke Jacobs has not broken a sweat in this. He battered the piss out of Lykos, and Lykos got a cheeky roll up. He got some super kicks in, but overall he didn't hit a brainbuster. He didn't hit sort of many of his big moves whatsoever, and Luke Jacobs was always on top of him. He was just battering him until eventually, he beat him, he clobbered him, and Luke Jacobs is the new champion. I thought it was a fantastic end to the show, because sometimes squash matches can be really good. They can really elevate people, and I think Luke Jacobs now with the belt, having defeated Lykos, who he wanted so badly to win that belt from Spike Trevay, he finally did it. He beat Mark Haskins, and then to just lose like this to his friend is such a great story. It's such a great story. I'm really excited for their rematch coming up at Wrestling Never Sleeps. I loved it. It was such a great ending, and Luke Jacobs, he's going to hold both the belts. He's going to hold the Progress Championship, and he's going to hold the Rev Pro Undisputed British Heavyweight Championship, because I believe he's beating Michael Oku as well at that show. Strap the rocket. Every promotion just needs to strap the rocket to Luke Jacobs, because he's probably my favourite British wrestler working today. He is incredible on the mic. He's incredible in the ring. He's just got everything. He's got everything. And now he's the Progress World Championship after emphatically beating Kid Lykos. What a way to end the show. And that capped off The Devil on Your Shoulder, chapter 169. I thought this was a really, really good show. I don't think it's the best Progress outing that I've seen this year, but overall, I would highly recommend it if you want to catch up before London. Check it out on their streaming service. I'd give it a 3.75 out of 5. Like I said, not the best show, but I really, really enjoyed my time with it, and I'm grateful I watched it. A lot of story built on this show. If you like pro wrestling stories, then this is the show and the promotion really to check out. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Were you a fan? Were you not? Let me know and I'll try to apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.